We can. Thank you for letting me know, Kim. And don't worry. What you say, a lot of obstacles to its teachings. So as long as you get to listen to them, 17 courses. I can't. How was your walk?
Oh, it was hot.
I know. I was just, I was at home and I was like, should I wear a sweater? Like,
Yeah.
wear a sweater or like pants or shorts?
Yeah.
Because it was like half sunny and half.
It was cool when I left the house.
Yeah, you might think of it actually, like my wife was like, oh, don't hang up the laundry, you wait till tomorrow. I'm like, that's neat. I was like, oh, I'm glad but there is air conditioning in here, so we're okay. Yeah, it's a funny one. Many whiteboards in your life, your work life?
Yeah, some.
And does it mean like it's not like there's something missing from the surface when it doesn't erase very easily?
Well, I'm not sure.
If I remember, there was some stuff which was it wasn't coming off, so we used like nail polish remover.
Oh.
Which I am now thinking one reason why maybe remove some like something off the surface which is making it hard to erase. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, like the
fumes from the fumes.
Oh, from the. Were there a lot of Tinas in your school, in your high school or elementary school?
No.
It's just so funny. I was biking here and I was like, I forgot your name. And then I was like, oh no. And then I'm like, well, it has been 2 weeks, but still, then I was like, no, Chow. She had the same last name. Luckily, we bumped into you, we saw Jeannie and I was like, oh, Chow. And then I was like, Tina. But how did you get your name? Is there a...
Well, actually, I was born premature.
Me too. Okay.
And so I was like 5 pounds. I was like tiny, and my legal name is actually Teeny.
Like Chinese name?
No, it's a unique name. A one of Teeny, teeny, really small.
Yeah, like that teeny word.
Yeah.
T-E-N-I.
No, it's T-I-N-N-I-E, and people always pronounce it Tinny.
T-I-N-N-E.
I-E, T-I-N-N-I-E.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. That would be, a lot of people might go Tinny.
Yeah.
It's teeny.
And then when I was starting at school, the teacher asked me what my name was. I said Teeny. And then she never heard of it. She goes, sounds like you're saying Tina, so I'm going to call you Tina.
Oh. But your mom or dad gave you that?
Yes.
And teeny actually is supposed to be spelled with a Y, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you go like tiny. Tiny. When it's like, oh, I got a tiny piece. It's T-I-N-Y.
That's right.
Like I've never heard that spelled.
Yeah, and they made it up. My parents made it up.
They made it up themselves.
Yeah.
Were they born here or in Hong Kong?
No, Hong Kong.
You too. Well, and so did they name you in Hong Kong? No,
I was born here. And they came here. My father came here when he was 12, my mother 19.
So they were, at least they kind of, okay. So then they pinpointed an English name, not just like a Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it anywhere similar to your Chinese name?
No.
Here's my Ho Dan.
Oh.
So my mom was like, oh, looking in the Big EP dictionary for something that's similar. So, but I thought Tina maybe, but also tiny, and then somehow it became, and then you just adopted.
Yeah.
Even though legally you're tiny.
Yeah, it's on my passport and on my birth certificate. Yeah.
You could have changed it.
Yeah.
You could have changed it to Tina.
Yeah.
But you didn't want.
Yeah, I did.
But now you just go by that. And but then when people, okay. So when they read out your name, they do always
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, that's when we do a teacher training. Ask everyone for the story of their meeting. That is one of the things people find.
Oh.
So now I'm kind of thinking, now I'm gonna be tiny. But hopefully I'll still remember. But then we go around, and then everyone has these interesting stories about the needs, or what the needs that they don't remember what they do.
Yeah.
Then we remember the names. But sometimes when we don't, like who's the major such visual. When we first met you, I was like scanning, I'm really helpful. And I, even though you said you're neat, but it's too much info.
Right.
A lot of people want to know if you are, but I will forget the fate.
Right. How was the retreat?
Yeah, I will tell you in a second. I just wanted to make sure that whiteboard works, and if not, then we won't. I will tell you. I mean, I literally just got off the ferry. Tell you where I put the notes, or what happened to the notes last class?
No.
To the washroom, and just before class, just take a few breaths, and then I left it in the washroom as I'm walking out. Oh my God. You didn't go to the washroom after class, so you didn't see it. And I probably would have missed it too. We just got back, and my wife, or my son's like, oh, there's so much news, it's a week.
Oh yeah.
And I thought he was going to tell me about her dog, but my wife, her text on Monday. It's good I didn't read it because, it just took the wiki to the emergency. That was all she wrote. She never wrote. I didn't read. Luckily, I didn't read my text. Told us not to. Get, like tempted. Don't read them, and then because first thing that then she didn't say anything, so I called her, and then she didn't pick up. So then I texted my son, "Are you home? You might have been working." So we came home. I you tell me about the dog. He's just going, "Oh, you want to hear all this basketball news?" All the trades, all everything. I was like, "Oh, okay." Okay, let me test out the marks.
Where was this retreat?
On Bowen Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I am actually already recorded. I was thinking, I'll share with whoever.
And it was how many days was it? A week?
Yep. We got there Saturday morning, and we just got off the ferry. Got off the ferry at 12:30. Plan, I could have not had a class today, but I'm like, no, I will have had time to, because the teacher who's teaching went over material like this, so I was able to clarify something that I'm going to be in the best possible position. Now, this might be a bit far for you. I might move it closer, but I just wanted to test out. It's actually a long weekend today.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, now you're retired.
Yeah, I know. Every day's a long weekend.
Every day is party time. Well, it's.
Oh yeah, it's that French holiday.
Oh, St. John Baptist.
Yeah.
But really, it is.
Oh, you're Canada Day. You're
Yeah.
oh right, Canada Day.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not. yet, like till Tuesday.
Yeah,
But the fact is, this
Monday.
is the long weekend.
Yeah.
Like people have Monday off.
right.
Like I saw a lot of cars in the city, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like people who didn't go away yesterday
Yeah.
are leaving today, and they have like probably going to take Monday off.
So level 2, is it gonna review any of this stuff or just completely different stuff?
No. There is some parts which I mean, I can start with is, the similar. I think the main messages, important ones, are repeated, but like the details, like today's class will have some details. Be different. Okay. Yeah, and then some will elaborate more. Okay, let me just check this one's on. So yeah, if you're a bit cold, get your top.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it on this temperature because there's a class after us.
Okay.
So if you say, oh, it's too cold, I'm still going to say, well, I don't want it too hot for the next class. So kind of. How was your eyesight?
Oh, not good enough.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's not, it's supposed to be a picture. I will explain in a second. So I bet even if you don't know how to describe it, it's not very detailed.
I can see 2 trees. I see 2 trees. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the dates in September, and it just depends whether my wife wants to go away or I'm going to start in mid-September.
Okay.
Like without posters earlier, and that's usually a good time to start something.
Yeah.
In September,
Yeah.
we get a lot more students in September.
Oh.
And if we do go away in October, we'll just just so that we make sure we finish before the meetings, right?
Yeah. And it's 10 sessions?
Yeah. Start with the frustrations. That's the part of the setting that intention, which helps more virtue for you. All right. So again, think of the teacher. I said last time, even the teacher that one that irritates or frustrates you, but it could be another one that has taught you a lot that you were reading from. So think of that as your 3 frustrations. Tina, did I show you the hand where you're supposed to put it? Yeah, yes, if you remember, the ring fingers is their mountain. Crisscross the pinky, crisscross all the other ones. Good. Yeah, that's great. So the ring finger represents the mountain, and the other ones are the four continents. Now the tricky part for you then is you don't have to memorize the fingers. So maybe take up your sheet. You just need it for the first page. And since last time we did the Tibetan, I'll let you try the Tibetan again. You'll notice, I'd say the first one doesn't have as much of a melody as the last one that we close prayers with. But and keep your mandala. Sashi Puki Nukshin Toltra Ira Lingshi Yenpani Sangye Shinyu Ide Wari Roku Namda Shinla Tuparsho Idam Guru Ratnam Madlakam Diratayami. A little prayer for the second one. And then usually I'll say, like, you know, if you're a big monks, they'll have a person is a chant master who starts it. And so usually the first word, Sangye, you don't say, you wait for the chant master to say, and then you continue with this one 3 times. Sangye Chudam Soki Chokam La Janchu Pardu Dati Japsuchi Dati Jin Ile Suzanki Dola Penchir Sangye Parsho Sangye Chudam Soki Chokam La Janchu Pardu Dati Japsuchi Dati Jin Ile Suzanki Dola Penchir Sangye Parsho Sangye Chudam Soki Chokam La Janchu Pardu Dati Yapsuchi Dati Jinyan Ibe Sunaki Dola Penchir Sangye Parsho. To tell you a little bit more about the retreat, it's on Bowen Island. Google up Rivendell, R-I, you can write it down, R-I-V-N, Rivendell, D-E-L-L. Might come to a retreat center, but if you put Rivendell Hermitage, G-R-M-I-T-H-E, this is their sister retreat center that we built where everybody goes there past the space cycle. So I'll describe to you a little bit of it. You can kind of go, oh, that's for me, or oh, no, that's for me. But so as I told you, I told my yoga class, we have 5 little, you might see these great picture, these like little, I guess it's like a cabinet, but it's like a square block. It's got a nice skylight, you know, a bed in there, fits a dresser. They have a little wood firing stove where they chop up some wood, sliding glass doors. So 5 of these little units, not too close to each other. And that is on a beautiful property where then we have a main house. And they really built this in mind because, you know, it looks like a beautiful house, but when you go inside, you have the kitchen. This space was meant for, it wasn't just like groups of like 7 or 8, it was like 8 of us there. So there's 2 rooms for the teacher or something who doesn't want to live in one of those cabins. Bathroom, one tub that I enjoy. So they have washer dryer.
Oh.
Yep. It is like fully like it's not so rustic. Like it's pretty. It's a 10-year-old house. It's a very nice house. people skylights. And then what's really cool, like this is where I'm saying it's made for silent retreats, is that it wasn't just groups, that people could come in with their own, minimum at least one night, but some would come. Now they're maxing it out at a week. I think I had gone for maybe 2 weeks many years ago by myself. So you book it, you email them, and then you ask them for the dates, and then if there's no group, you can just go in, and there might be other people already there, different schedules. But the thing is, there's a kitchen, which probably can allow 2 people to cook easily. But then each of the seating areas, I like the big table, you know, like everyone sits around, and it's hard to keep your silence. They put these tables, each of them facing like a window, so that, you know, book on their own, they can stay in silence, and they can sit out there, look out the window, and eat quietly without talking and distracted by someone else. They don't have like a balcony for each one, but they have 4 different balconies, like small enough just for one person with like an armchair. So yeah, then upstairs there's a meditation room, there's some small little rooms for reading. And
so you're allowed to read?
Yeah. I mean, they have books there. You can do what you want as long as you're not supposed to talk. Our leader told us, help us not let our mind face itself to not read. But I noticed a few other people read. Like I read this material, which I feel like is, you know, it's that if you read, like I bought another book, but if I read another book, you know, a fiction book, then your mind will go off into that, right? And suddenly into like, oh, okay, and then when you're meditating, you'll be like, oh, I'm thinking about the book, right? So you're trying to keep your mind on this material. So the schedule is, this is where I'm saying it could be for some people, like, you know, we had new people come in before that you didn't have to go to all the meditations. So we start at 6:30 to 7:30. There's like a 24-minute meditation, 6-minute break, and then a 24-minute. We call that Gattaca. So he has 2 of those. And then there's time for breakfast. 7:30 till 9:30. I did my yoga at that time. Then
So that's free time, that's 7, or do they provide yoga?
We're off on our own. We do our own. Like nobody leads the yoga, so I did my own yoga. But yeah, 7:30 to 9:30 is kind of like breakfast free time.
Okay.
And then 9:30 to 11, there's 3 Gattakas, so 3 meditations, where he guided in the beginning of the week 1 or 2 of them, and then by the end of the last day, we did ourselves silent. Then had a chef come in, and though I don't know if you're vegetarian, she cooked some really good vegetarian food. She worked up at Hollyhock at the retreat center. So it's not the Chinese Asian vegetarian, but she made it like, wow, so yummy. So she cooked for us for lunch and dinner. Last year we decided to help clean up, but I think we got in her way a little. So she has to do it on her own, which is even better, right? We didn't have to clean. So you can walk around, not just the property, it's like that part of Bowen Island. You go off, I could see UBC from there, golf course, waterfall, like you can, you know. So then we have from 12 lunch, and then we don't eat up again until 3. 3 o'clock we had a class, or he was teaching, and then 3 to 4:30. And then had a break time until 6 for dinner. Then we had 2 more meditations at 8 to 9. So some people who, you know, sometimes skip the evening ones or skip the morning ones and sleep or something. But yeah, it's you're all over the place. The island has a lot of too scared of people. It's an owl. These beautiful purple flowers that just like grew all over. I wanted to pick them for my wife, but I didn't have a chance to. And, but yeah, the teachings and the meditation really did that. That's what they're for. So I went to all those, clarify some of the stuff that was in today's class, which was great because, you know, the big picture is what I wanted to start with, and I don't think that is, you probably already understand it, but, you know, some of the details were a little, I remember them, and I didn't think, oh, I didn't need to memorize it, really understand it, so I kind of just, you know, skimmed it and went on, but today I have to share it, so I have to kind of understand it better.
So I just have one question.
Yeah.
So those 8 people in your group, like, did any of them check their phones during that time, during the time of the retreat? I would say yes.
I would say, yeah, well, I mean, my car pool, but she did on Friday, she sent someone. There is cell service, so there is, you know, the Wi-Fi, you know, give us a password, so we kept it. They told us, yeah, it's better if you need to, but before she went years ago, her kids were young, so at nighttime she would call us, whatever. But yeah, I did, like, you know, definitely nobody was carrying it around. You know, if they did, it was hidden. But you know, yeah, he explained it really well at the beginning. Like, I mean, our mind is so used to being kind of said when we're here, there are so many things to distraction, you could say, or you know, there's many things to our minds to go off to, right? When you're bored, there's just turn on your phone. You got a wealth of things to see, you can read and do, and it never allows our mind to quiet, to go in a little deeper. So if we chatted, you know, read the material that might take our mind, we kind of stay closer to the surface. And let your mind go down deep, you know, to hopefully, you know, like my intention was, I was hoping to have the direct perception of emptiness, not just hear it and understand it. For the Buddhist part of the path is to have that direct perception. And you have to build your concentration. So the morning things like picking something to focus on. A lot of times meditation will be just focusing on your breath. But he gave us a lot of different ways we could just focus on different objects and keep our mind on it, come back to it, keep coming back. You know, if right now we sit for 10 minutes, I tell you to do that, but it's not so easy. It's almost like it's like a muscle you haven't used, right? The mind. It's a little bit like, you know, it's something we're not used to doing. And, you know, even as a yoga teacher, meditation is one of the levels of yoga. It's actually the highest level of yoga. As a yoga teacher, I remember definitely knowing I needed to practice it, but it was hard. It's not, you know, do a stretch, it feels good, and it feels good after, you know, but you meditate. You can have meditations where your mind's all busy and I might look very calm and peaceful, not moving, but after the meditation session, it's your mind's still busy. And the perfect example is just to think of, like, if you scoop some water from a river, you know, some dirt in it, maybe some rocks, you scoop it out of a moving river, it's swirling a little bit, right? But it takes time. But if you just kind of let the cup sit, then maybe the rocks sink to the bottom, maybe the leaves float to the top, then the water may calm down, right? That's what our minds sometimes need. What's so hard about yoga is that we have time to, how difficult it is to You know, like you can pick the most interesting, no matter what you pick, but just to come back to it for half an hour is not so interesting. It's hard. So that's what I'm practicing. Um, and I would say, you know, you might have heard that early recordings that I did it, but I didn't do it as regularly until I understood that without your mind being able to hold its focus, that you know you might accrue enough virtue, but you actually go into meditation to get this direct perception of emptiness. Your mind won't allow you to get the full result. So it does say, the teachers do say you do need to work on your meditation. And I read it, and finally it was like, you know what, I'm committed. I'm gonna, you know, do this. And so now my meditation practice is an hour a day. So when I wake up, first thing I do, another half hour at night. The great thing is now sit, even though I won't say I'm super focused, sit without twitching and sore and being uncomfortable. Because that usually is the first thing people learning to meditate have to. Body isn't just your mind. Your mind's moving, and your body's kind of like itchy. It kind of wants you to stop. So it creates all this physical sensations that you have to learn to kind of rotate with it just a little longer, and it will ease up. So yeah, that's been better, and I've noticed that I can sit through even when it's boring. It's like, oh, at least they say there's merit in that you're still getting tons of bad meditations before you have a peaceful one. Not two very calm sort of so anyway, that is what this retreat is like. I mean, every silent retreat is a bit different. Definitely feels that we're in material, but we got to focus our minds. So what I wanted to review, I guess, that my teacher explained that if you ever want to just kind of get an example of what his meditations are like, I can send you a link. He does a meditation every Monday night from 7 to 8:15 on Zoom. So that you just put on a headphones and then give a little bit of talk, and then you'll guided meditation where it's not like you just sit, he doesn't say anything, he'll give you just things to come back to. You know, that helps. It helps us in the beginning to have something come back. It's like doing yoga at the studio, you know, you do yoga at your home, but you know, someone's reminding you to breathe, check your shoulder, check this. So if you're ever interested, let me know how. So what I had wanted to start with was kind of the review of the big picture. That, some are going to be watching this recording, and I know it's hard to see, but Tina could confirm that supposedly here's a picture of a tree, and say we are, you know, the 4 Arya truths is what Buddha had said. And he said that right now, it's like we're living in samsara. You know, we're living in this world which is not exactly as it seems. And we're going to be reborn in it over and over. If you don't do good, your next life you can be reborn in the lower realms, right? So this is where we're living, and that's his you know, first Arya truth, that life is suffering. That you know we went over as a human life, which is better than a hell being, craving spirit, and animal. We still have suffering, right? that review it just quickly, that you don't know, things are not certain, always wanting more. All of us are going to get old, get sick, die, right? We're going to constantly be reborn. Goes up, will come down. When you die, you can't take anything with you. Nobody with you, nothing with you, except your karma. So that is where we are at. Now, the second area of truth, do you remember, do you know what that one is? And I know that I want to reveal because it wasn't really spoken about so much. And it was saying that there is a cause of samsara. That I've made it a tree to say that, sometimes if you don't like the fruit, say it's an apple tree, you're not going to blame the leaves or blame the fruit. It starts coming from the roots, right? So what is the reason? Reason, they say, they use the word ignorance. I'm not going to write it, you just can put it here. Ignorance in your picture. Ignorance is what leads us to samsara. Good news is that, this ignorance is what we've been talking about how when you see something, start with an object, it's board, might look like, oh yeah, there's a whiteboard. But the fact is, there are many people talking about examples of children who won't know what this is. I've never seen this before. So using an object may be something that we may all agree on, that we're placing a label on it. At least what is hard is when we look at other people. You think of right now, someone who irritates you, frustrates you. But there was people like that at the retreat for me. I told you that example about in every 3 people, one you like, one you're indifferent, one like fun. And they didn't say anything to me. Dirty looks, right? And I was just like, oh, isn't that funny? It was true. Out of those 8 or 2, one of them left early. I just had, that was my karma. And it wasn't like I didn't wish them back. Just, normally I think before this path I would be like, oh, they are like not even acknowledge, da 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 da. But I just kind of was like, no, for some funny reason, for nothing that they did, I don't have a warm feeling about them. And I'm at a Buddhist retreat. But it is because it's our tendency, it's almost like instinct, they're saying. That they'll discuss in a course. But it just comes from this habit of having done it over and over. We see everything outside of us. It's kind of being existing on its own. And that is what Buddhists call ignorance. But the good news is, the third Arya truth is, there is an end to our suffering. There is an end. You just focused on that. First 2 truths would be kind of depressing, but here's the other tree, or what you're hoping to be moving to Buddhahood. Same tree, samsara, but now this is a wonderful example they put. They said, think of the happiest moment of your life. Think of one of them, if you have a few. Something right now. Imagine if that was every day, all the time, permanent, not impermanent. So this is where they say there is a way end to our suffering, end of ignorance. So that if you, like a tree, remove the root problem, which is ignorance. So if you remove the root cause, then you have a different tree. Change the roots. Instead of a tree giving samsara, you begin Buddhahood. So the fourth quality of truth is there is a path to removing this ignorance. That is what studies a lot about, is like what practices, what can you do to remove the ignorance. So yeah, that is the big picture. What we're doing. Why I am meditating now, why I went to this retreat. You know, it wasn't free, it wasn't by donation, because I still had to pay. Like, actually, the great thing about this Rivendell Hermitage, if you ever want to go there yourself, it's by donation, a suggested donation. They did hire the cook, was paid, and I think extra for our 7 days it was 1,600. But which, you know, I think for, you know, I invited my wife. She's like, you know, she's kind of like, well, this is your trip, so it's your money. Use your. But you know, I told her it was great, but if you're not into, if you really don't believe this, my tennis partner was like, he's like, why are you wasting a week, your holiday time, to, you know, be in silence? You could, you know, jokes, you can be in silence anywhere. Meditate at home, you know, eat vegetarian food at gazillions of restaurants in Vancouver, you know. You can go to Bowen Island for a day trip. I'm going to take my visitors to Bowen Island when I, yeah. So what I wanted to write down, so if you remove ignorance, then the roots to lead to Buddhahood is what this course is, the three principal paths. So maybe write that three principal paths, or renunciation, right? You actually have to feel like, oh, samsara is a problem. Bodhicitta, to want to help all beings. Maybe not initially right now just for that, but to understand that you need to have that feeling, because that feeling boosts up the karma that you receive from doing something. And if you're like, okay, I'm going to do this for myself, it's this much karma, I think I'm doing it for all beings. It's like the same act of donating, but it's like that much more karma. And so that's the second one. And today, I mean, what we're talking about is the third one, the correct view. Yeah, that is what I had done. That I had almost, my sheet had drawn a little picture of a little tree. And on the way to Buddhahood, obviously a tree grows, right? But you could draw a little tree and put down, you know, the leaves and write nirvana. And along the way of reaching Buddhahood, most people will go through nirvana first, and that's where you have no mental afflictions. Or, you know, like I said, we're the three lower realms. There's the humans, there's these demigods, gods that are living nirvana. They have no mental afflictions, but unfortunately, when their good karma is spent, they go back down to the lower one. So it's not the end place, but it's on the way here. So some people can reach nirvana without having direct perception of emptiness. That's what. So yeah, just maybe a little bit more about this big picture about, you know, if we're living in this tree in samsara, you know, the truth is, whether this or here, supposedly all of us beings want two same things. We want to be happy, suffer. But if you're in samsara, say I want to be happy, sometimes we'll do some things to get more of what we want. So yeah, like those, some loves food, you know, what can you do, you know, you have this wonderful feeling from food. And this is a good example. If that was really true that, you know, this food, right now, I bought him some donuts when I came home nearby place. So he's, oh, Dad, can I, there's 6 donuts, you know, and he's learned, I taught him not to eat all of them, right? So he's, oh, can I have a quarter of each? He wants to have his share, right? And, well, maybe eat the whole thing, because if he cuts it, then it'll be dry for the other ones before Mom comes home. I think if the brother eats it, right? So maybe, okay, just eat the whole one or half. 2 halves. Like, cut a quarter of each one. But he thinks, and it is true, yeah. I mean, for people who like donuts, you might not like donuts, but he believes, oh, the wonderful feeling is from the donut. But I get enough donuts. What happens? You're eating something too much. Yeah, like not just you physically sick, you get tired of it. You don't like it anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is a truth. We all we go, oh yeah, that is normal. But no, that is actually what the Buddhists say happens. It's like the karma runs out that you can eat. And then like I can give them another donut and be like, I don't want to see donuts. Some people hit that point and then they never like donuts anymore.
Yeah.
And we say, oh yeah, I got sick of it. Buddhists will say your karma ran out. Yeah, that you might like something, there might be other things you like, and at a certain point it runs out. I know I love food too. And it's funny. My wife's a foodie too. And, you know, on trips, and you know, some people go and highlight seeing something. Hers and mine would be like the food, right? But I'm so happy that I'm not so food. My food karma has kind of weighed down. I don't feel like, oh, say the Buddhist humans are after food and sex. that karma for me has weakened. I still love it, but I can't survive with just rice and peas. I'm almost like, I think it was, I was doing some of these solo meditation retreats on my own. And after you meditate a while, like eat a plain carrot, no sauce or anything like that. Whereas before, like some yummy sauce, like don't just give me like some dressing, like something yummy too. It wasn't enough. But from the meditation, and it's kind of made me kind of like enjoy like brown rice, like I want. So I'm happy, I'm not just satisfied, like I have like content. I don't have to. I like it, right? It's just I feel like yeah, not like a hungry ghost, like they say, who's always hungry, who's looking for the next, you know, like yummy meal. So yeah, so this is where a lot of us will, a lot of people right now over in the city are looking for something that they like. And certainly sometimes they might go, oh, I'm going to buy another donut because I want that joy from it. Not knowing that the joy they might get from the donut actually was maybe they gave some good food to someone. That is why they feel the joy of eating a donut. Didn't do that, you eat the same donut. You might not like the donut, you don't like chocolate. Whereas for a lot of people, when they can see chocolate, it's like, oh, yeah, you know, we brought it to the retreat that some people, we weren't supposed to bring sweets, but okay, they did. And all all got gobbled up before the apples and the fruit, you know. And, but yeah, you don't have the karma for chocolate, so if you show you, yeah, it's good, it's fine. I don't really need it, crave it. You know, it doesn't give you the same joy that a lot of other people do. So
Well, maybe that's why I don't have any desire to eat meat.
yeah, see, that's a wonder. You know, that is a vegetarian retreat, and my friend, my tennis player friend, wouldn't care how delicious it was. It's just like, where's the meat? Eat it. I don't even know whether the fact that it didn't, like some, you know, you can have textures like meat with mushroom or jackfruit, choose different veggies. But for some people, unless they have a texture or they have a taste that's not, you know, it's not satisfying.
I'm just wondering if it's from meditation. Like I started meditating, and I don't really want to eat meat. I don't have this desire to eat meat.
Yeah, well, your karma's changed, you know, that's what it is. But this is where I'll go back to the point where, you know, people want more of what they want. And they might go out and buy more of the same. And sometimes, you know, junk food seems to taste good for a lot of us. And unfortunately, look what you see in first world countries, we eat too much sweet stuff, you know, and then obesity is a problem, right? Too much sugar is a problem. Diabetes is a problem. Can lead to whatever. But they're saying worse in the Buddhist world is some people will do something bad to get what. This is where the love of money, or the toys that money buys. Well, I want more of that. So I'm willing to steal or buy or trick people or deceive, you know, to get more of that. That's where that is you know, besides not getting the joy out of what they think they're going to get if they don't have the karma, they're starting to plant seeds of bad karma that they're going to receive later on. So this is, you know, the thing that some people experience. There's a other way of you don't want to suffer. That sometimes for the same reason, if it was something you don't like, someone you don't like. Normal reaction for us in samsara is to avoid it. You don't want to see whoever. Do whatever you can to avoid seeing them, even though maybe you should. They're family, maybe they're someone you need to help. You know, I guess I'll tell you this story because it relates to my, you know, they call it ignorant aversion. That I started as a yoga teacher, teacher training. I think I wanted to be a teacher. We have to practice. It was a teacher training program. So one of the first things, tests is that now, okay, you learn these poses, you teach it to the classmate. And I realized, I guess I did already when I was younger in front of groups, but I was like, oh, I'm really nervous, you know, a lot more nervous than maybe I should be, right? These are my classmates, they're learning, but, you know, well, yeah, the teachers, they're evaluating too, and I was like, really, really nervous. I made it through. I did quite well. Apparently the teacher wanted me to teach at the studio, but I met a Georgina partner in that work who wanted to start a studio. I really was eager to start something on my own, so I said yes to her. Get no money. She wanted to open one in North Van. I said, well, I'm taking another healing arts course at 46 in Fraser.
Yeah, I should know that.
The subway. It's a subway on the bottom. On top.
Oh.
Yeah, now it's a guru learning center. But it used to be healing arts center. Massage therapist rented it out. I was taking courses, and I said, we can just rent the space. You know, oral money that we don't have to start up something, get that experience. So we started. She and I started September 1999. Details of that are I'll tell another time, but you know, and we did a big class. classes, we're just starting out, but sometimes 2, 3 people, 4 people was enough to make me feel really, really nervous. I'm like already sweating, like, just like, looks like I'm from hot yoga at the start of yoga, and the other students are, is it too hot in here for you? And I'm like, no. I'm supposed to help them calm down. And what I learned in the teacher training is like, evaluate yourself. So even though you finish the training, you don't ever finish learning. Evaluate how you felt you taught, what you might want to change, keep doing. You should see my journal entries, like, oh, so nervous. Like, and then I'm starting to get like nervous and panicky the night before I have to teach a class. Like it's like serious, right? Mouth is dry, and I'm like, geez, I don't want to let down my partner. Like we just started it like a month in. I'm like, just it's so stressful, so stressful. I'm supposed to be. I love doing yoga. I feel great after. I feel great doing it, but teaching is different, right? But then suddenly, I was like, I was telling anyone. I was just talking to myself, writing, journaling. Like, well, what are you gonna do then? Wanting to start your own business. Now you have your own something to start. But what do you want to do? I was working at a restaurant to make money. So it's just paying the rent. But I'm like, well, I'll just work in a bank. University, I should be able to get in. Then I'm like, well, what happens when you start moving up and doing well? Then maybe you have a presentation in front of like a few people. I'm like, you can't avoid like the reason you're gonna quit is avoiding like talking in front of people. Like, you're gonna face that working in a bank. And this aha was like, okay, I promised myself, I said, I'm not gonna quit until I can handle this. And then I'll quit. If I'm fine with teaching in front of people, then yeah, then I can quit. But I don't want to quit because I knew this would follow me. This fear would follow me to something else. So I joined Toastmasters to get more practice. I was telling my retreat partner, yeah, she's trying to tell stories and she feels the same as me. I joined Toastmasters, I went, and it helped.
I joined Toastmasters when I was living at ICBC.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I did it because it just helped me feel that feeling, kind of.
And it was really hard at the beginning.
Yeah, it's not easy, right? Yeah. And now it'll stay, though I'm able to, I still feel the nerves before every yoga class. So I usually go to a washroom. So I'm better with it. And, there's still that. Like, the good thing is, I remember watching Celine Dion. She gets really, really showed her getting out. I never would know. I'm so glad. And I'm sure if I Googled up people get nervous before they perform, a lot of famous people will do the same. So I feel like I'm not the only one. They say at Toastmasters it's fear bigger than death. People voted speaking in front of people. That's a fear. They rank higher than death. Right? So I'm not the only one. But it is like a fear that, this is where in samsara we will avoid people doing things, thinking that we will avoid the suffering, when actually the truth is, and you've probably heard stories or watched movies or like someone breaks up from their partner, for whatever reason, then they find another partner or what have you. It's the same. They do the same thing, right? They haven't escaped the karma, or they haven't escaped recognizing, deal with this, whatever it is. And, so yeah, this is one thing that samsarily do will try to avoid something. So that's not really the way to get rid of that one. It's kind of just recognize, okay, I'm not feeling it. Just gonna breathe, get through it, and not plant. You know, like I don't like getting yelled at. I was getting it from my wife, from my kids, and I'm like, how that, you know, like going to class would remind me that like I better not yell back because when I did, which I did, I just basically planted some seeds, fertilized it, nourished it, and I made it like now I'm gonna get it even more, like triple, you know. So yeah, I need to cure this. So yeah, this is where supposedly understanding this is supposed to help us. You know, how do we? You know, the big message is what you do want, plant more seeds to help others with what you want. What you don't want is to not plant more seeds. This is a great example. I don't know if you like to garden, but you don't have to garden to go outside and see that, you know, I have blueberry plants. I'm wanting to grow lots of blueberries, but 1 week away, I can see the weeds like really fast. It's almost like in our minds, I love weeds because they otherwise they'll take over what you're wanting to grow. So we have to be like gardeners, planting seeds of what we want and pulling out the weeds what we don't want. We don't get more than. So with that intro, I am supposed to share. There are some people doing homework. What this class talks about, and one of the messages it talks about is that there are truths to wisdom, and it's a great translation of the word truth, because when you hear the word truth, usually we'll think true or false. Gina, are you retired? True. Yes, it is true, Your Honor. You know, in this case, the truths here is they say a division of reality, two ways to describe reality. And, so that all objects, this whiteboard, the person who annoys you, has both realities. So one of them is called deceptive reality, deceptive truth. That is to say that things are self-existent, that this whiteboard exists outside of our minds, that it really is here. Everyone who sees it will see it as a that is a deceptive truth. Oddly, you know, in samsara, we live like this. We see everything outside of us as not within us, not projection, but something existing out there. So it says, objects to normal people seem to be different than whatever. So you look at this before this course, you might go, yeah, whiteboard. But now I'm trying to say, no, this is a whiteboard because your mind is projecting the label whiteboard on this object. So then the other truth, the other reality is the ultimate reality, or the ultimate truth. That things are not self-existent, and that they are projections based on us from our past karma. Yeah, that my fear of speaking in front of people, that is my karma, because some people don't. You know, just there are, both of us went to Toastmasters. That's not their fear. They love being in front of the people. They love being in front of the camera. They love performing. So that is not the same situation. It brings up different feelings for different people. So ultimate reality, another word for it is how it appears is what it is. How it appears is what it is. Another word is that it is emptiness. It's emptiness. And they say Buddhas or Aryas, those are the ones who have had a direct perception of emptiness. They can see ultimate reality. We can only reason, but we cannot see that our mind is. We can't see the process of that. Supposedly, when we have this direct perception of emptiness, we see everything. We understand everything is a projection. It's almost like young, you watch a movie for the first time, there's something on the screen, you're kind of going, wow, so cool. Until you learn that the image came from the projector. So until you learn that it was magic. Until you learned a magic trick, how it was done. It is magic. It's real. So maybe the magician shows you. So, yeah, as they say, all objects have both realities, ultimate and the deceptive, are not both. So another term that you might want to put down, it's in the notes here. The one that had got me a little confused was, I was really clear on, was called dependent origination or interdependence. Where interdependence, violence, heard of it, environmental studies, how we're interdependent on everything. Their definition of it is a little bit more like dependent origination. It's like how did we create this way? How did you create this irritating person? That is what dependent origination is. And it is, they describe it as the opposite of emptiness. That emptiness is saying, oh, there's no self-existence, there's no self-existence, there's no definition coming from the whiteboard that it's a whiteboard. So that's saying that it doesn't exist. But how do we see that there is a whiteboard? How did our mind, how is it that you and I both see a whiteboard? Touch it, it is actually solid. How do we create that? So that is what dependent origination is. And supposedly, before you get the direct perception of emptiness, suddenly you will look at everything around you and you will start realizing it's coming from your projection. So that's a direct dependent origination. If you start seeing that, you start looking around, watch the movie in the Matrix. One day, if you do, if you see it somewhere, library or streaming on TV, give it, because it's supposed to be like a Buddhist movie. It is science fiction, but it has this kind of like we're living in different realities, like whatever it means. Even though that reality isn't Buddha, but theirs is a little scarier, dark. But the fact that they mention some things which so supposedly if you start looking around, seeing your mind like, oh, seeing how I'm creating a whiteboard, I'm creating that, like the floor. You're supposed to go into meditation right away because you're about to get your own direct this was a part, this, right, perception of emptiness is something I was kind of hammered in during the retreat. Something that when we have an experience, it's hard for us to use words or images to help us understand. I guess we'd be like telling a child who's never, a small child who's never flown, how does it feel to fly? But, like there's some concepts until they do it, you just don't know. So all these teachers will write different ways to describe it, but you can't until you experience it. So this is what we're hoping to do by accruing enough good virtue. When it's time that we will experience it. And that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So, dependent origination. Now, maybe the last thing that is not so, I'm going to try to use the whiteboard. One reason is that they say, I told you that Buddhism supposedly started in India. And there is great schools of Buddhism in India before it came to that. And what's tricky is that they have a lot of different names. I guess you can think of it like Christianity, right? There's a lot of different churches with a lot of different names, Presbyterian, Unitarian, right? And I guess people who do study it will be able to say, oh yeah, these ones are Protestant, kind of they can group it. So definitely, there's a lot of different names, and I'm going to try to simple. You need to know that they say there's 4 main schools, but they divide it into 3 ways of seeing reality and origination. So the first one, just because there's so many, I'm going to try to whiteboard this. It's also in your binder too. But if you see it here, it will be easier. The first category is functionalists. Good term, I think. It's functionalists. And they are made up of 3 different schools. Now, I talked earlier how there is the lower scopes, that there are some Buddhists who just want to not be reborn in the lower 3 realms. So they're part of the Hinayana family. And the second one, higher, the medium scope, is that they want to reach enlightenment for themselves. And then there is the Mahayanas, which we are on. They want to reach enlightenment for all religions. So part of the functionalists includes the Hinayana. That there is, within this group, there is different ones. I'm just going to go A, B, and C. Well, there's 2 in the Hinayana. One is called Abhidharma. One is called the Sutra. A lot of other terms. And functionalists also include one from the Mahayana. So this one, yep, is that they believe everything that functions, I would use this whiteboard, open that, truly exists. Functions that it exists. So that's the first school. It's one of the more questions that always distinguish how what we believe in and how they're different. So the second one, they are called the independent. This is more like what they believe. Functionalists believe that. It's actually supposedly a half school. Their school is one of the Mahayana schools, just like as I said, Christian churches have more than one. So there's Mahayana, the mind only, and this one is part of the independent. It's still Mahayana. It's called Mahayana. You don't have to write down these ones, but maybe just the functionalists and what I just said about how what they are. So they are really only at the half school. They're kind of part of Mahayana, but and so they say that yeah, it is true. Everything that functions exists, but they go, what about space? What about emptiness? That doesn't have a function. So do they exist? And what they say is that we want to have a definition that includes emptiness and space. So what they say, what they believe is that everything that has parts exists. So that includes these two items, which the first group doesn't. They say that space has direction. So now, the reason why they are mentioning this third one, because this is the one that is so I can't really, but they're also part of Mahayana, right? So they still believe, you know, between enlightenment for all living beings. And also Maria, part of Maria Mita, but they are a subgroup called the consequence. So another subgroup of this one. They believe that things only exist as a projection from our mind, from our past karma. That it doesn't exist outside of our mind. So you're saying that when you look at this whiteboard, for example, you are really looking at slow down what actually is going on, looking at maybe the shape of it, length of it, the width of it, not and then the mind applies the definition. Rough shape, like mind can only pick up certain things and then it applies the projection. So everything that exists, according to this group that we're in, comes from our mind. So that includes emptiness and space. So yeah, that feels like just details, but later on, like this course, this first course is supposed to kind of give you like the general outline. It'll be be like one course which will either go into more detail about really why they say that, and, you know, give some proofs of it, explain it so that you'll be understanding. But just to know that there's kind of three different beliefs about how things exist. Yeah, how do they, what do they believe things exist? Because they have a cause, they function. This one's because they have parts. This one, saying everything comes from projection. So it's a little bit like detail that might not be, something applicable to you, not now, but when you take that course, it will be. So I think the one final question and definition is you'll hear maybe in some of the notes, and you'll definitely hear in the other courses, this term self. Yeah, you might say self, right? Part of the word myself, yourself. Thinking about a person, but the definition, according to Buddhism, is that it's when they say, what is the self? It's board, it's not a person. It's like you're talking about whether it is self-existent. So that's how to put down as you answer that, understand that. When they talk about self, they're talking about that it's a self-existent thing. That there is no self-existent thing. That is a projection of our mind. So again, these details, the go over just because that is what is part of this class. But they say the important point, point that I want to end the class with is that to remember that as long as we have ignorance, which we do, we will see things outside us, existing outside of ourselves. It's almost like we can't help it. Once had a bird accidentally put food at the bottom of its cage instead of litter. And you know what the bird did?
Oh.
It just kept eating. And supposedly dogs are, I don't know, like that. They don't know how to stop. They'll just keep eating. And it's kind of scary, right? You think like, okay, for us humans, we eat so much and then we're like, I can't eat anymore. It's almost like our stomach is in pain, right? It stops us from eating too much. A bird doesn't. And we didn't know, and it just looks kind of puffy. Oh, maybe it's just like a bunch of shed leaves, and then like, oh, and then who put that there? Oh, it's food. It's like it's eating itself to death. It's like it can't help it. It was like it was all food, eat. Some will say, oh, it's because it's animals are always searching for food. So when they see it, they just keep eating. They don't stop. Stomach doesn't have the nerve to tell them too much. It stretches without pain. So, as I had said it before, I said, oh yeah, you hear this. Oh, things are not self-existent. But then, 10 seconds later, you go out and see someone. Well, yeah, it appears like you're existing. You're not like projection, a mirage that my mind has projected. And unfortunately, as long as we have that, until we see direct perception of emptiness, we will walk around in this. That's why I was saying the matrix. It's kind of like we're walking around in a reality which we don't know is a reality. Like we're living in a. That's what that movie showed that people were living this world, they didn't know it wasn't a real world. They feel it's a real world. That is supposedly what we're doing. Walk around, and you see me, and you have an opinion of me, and you might accept that someone else, like, oh, what do you think of him? And they go, oh, I think this of him. Well, we both like this about him, but we both don't like him, or we like different. Just might kind of go, yeah, that isn't coming from that is me. It's not coming from a projection of you. And so this is why I said I started taking this course, because why is that important? You know, like just to say you're living in a, you know, a fake reality doesn't really, you know, how does it help you? Why are so many people Buddhists or on this path? Well, it's remembering that so that they don't, said earlier, don't plant weeds, you plant seeds. You know, how you, your reaction, like my reaction to those 2 people, 3 people that she didn't like, I kind of kept thinking like bad thoughts. Like one of the karmas is not just doing something or saying something bad. You can be thinking bad thoughts as well. So, you know, like, oh, they're just like being so greedy, you know, first, or, you know, like, you know, not doing the meditation, they're so lazy, and started creating a story and putting bad thoughts that, like that come back to me. Yeah, like, you know, and this is where I think Jenny was saying, oh yeah, like, don't think it's like, you don't want, if someone's harmed you, it is normal. You know, asshole, you know, and then kind of like you can build a story and then, oh, I hope so you get it back, you know, and that actually will come back to you, go back out to them, it comes to you. That is the awareness that we need to have. That your initial feeling about it, it comes from karma, but you're feeding it, you're giving it fertilizer and water if you keep.
Yeah, how do you do about it?
Yeah, you do about it. Like it's kind of like, oh, you got to stop, and this is where you have to go. Okay, I'm in. You know, this is just coming from my past karma. I don't like. As they say, that example, if you see me getting yelled at from my wife, I might not like it, but maybe you're agreeing because it's like I'm doing something like that. She didn't like it that I left the screen door open and the flies come in. And if you were my homestay student, she really is really scared of flies, like so scared she couldn't, like, you know, and she would be, yeah, yell at him because he's doing something stupid like leaving the screen door, right? I agree that he's doing the right thing. But if I yell back at him, what the hell? I just came home from energy. I'm trying to hurry to go to class, and I had to take a, you know, move some of the stuff. That's why, you know, when I say it in a mean way and yell back, I just get back again. So trying to remember this so that, you know, yeah, we can consciously plant what we want. It's like, okay, I'm getting yelled at. I don't like it because I yelled at whatever before. Just breathe and, you know, we'll pass. And then later on, yell at me. Like when I can say it nicely, it's fine. I can make that request. But if I yell back, that's what I'm going to get. And yeah, if I do want a peaceful retreat, I have to, people have peace. So yeah, I saw that teaching people yoga will help me. So I had a wonderful week. It was great. I didn't to, you know, my experiences. I didn't have to think about like family, all the joy. I was there. I brought my tennis racket. There was a tennis court nearby. I got to practice, and I got to, you know, like I was in Buddha paradise. I was kind of talking to a teacher. We had a little talk, and I was in, you know, I'm in Buddha paradise. I'm another, you know, Buddhists. We're not, you know, doing anything to kind of piss each other off. We're all trying to, you know, we can help each other quietly, meditating, great food, getting to go to sleep, nap, whatever you want. You know, to clean dishes the first few days. The cook didn't want us in the kitchen, so she cleaned everything. I'm like, reminders and teachings. And, it's really blissful, which I told you might not be for my tennis partner, for my wife. They would go there, she's gonna get home, I was like, even the other retreaters like, she always like panics because she doesn't want to go home. She wants to stay. I'm excited. I like being here in my family, and I share this. So, but yeah, that is the point that I highlighted here. That you know, if we see things as self-existent, we will blame things, blame situations. COVID hit, many people can say that was the reason for a lot of things, and I can tell you honestly, military wise during COVID, enough people stayed, and we got this rat subsidy and employee subsidy. And we did qualify, like, we lost a lot of revenue. Qualified, so we got this. So we work to do, I thought to was really, so I feel guilty saying it was really special time, but it's first time, time-wise and monetary, financial, and it wasn't like that for everyone. That was just my karma. So yeah, I planted it. It's kind of like taking my partner and I kind of like the financial plans, but we shared it with our teachers, and we got this money. So I planted those seeds years ago when we did a little, not very, like just a little bit. We always share with our teachers, and like written owners, we're gonna keep it. We're like share it, Well, some years we didn't share it. Some gifts to give to family and friends, but that is why financial ones during COVID, not, I see it as that, just because we planted the seeds that we were generous before past lives. But so yeah, I've seen evidence of this in my life, and I'm like, yeah, I'm donating money to. Maybe I won't. It might not flower in this, like it might not ripen in this life. It is true. It's not. It could be my next life. It could be future lives. But I do intellectually understand. If this is true, things are not self-existent. This is what we can do to help ourselves. To have more of what you want, to have less of what you want. Use the same things. So I will leave it at that for today, and we will have one more class next week, which will talk a little bit more about correct. So let us do the last closing prayer. Dedication. Yeah, when you do something good, supposedly it's going to bring you good karma. This coming to class, listening to class is going to bring you good karma. You magnify it by dedicating it to enlightenment of all beings. That you receive this big lump of virtue. Now you're going to invest it. But you're saying, I'm going to use this for my enlightenment to help all beings. And that it's just a thought, but that's karma. Thoughts are karma. So this is what we're doing with this dedication. So we'll do the Tibet. Sunam Yeshe Zoso Sunam Yeshe Dampa Kumi Opa. The teacher favorite or one that is teaching you don't like. Ciao.